Just before you go, how those investments will position Kisumu?
Well, thank you very much for joining us once again. We are coming to you live from the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium in Mamboleo area of Kisumu County. And now I'm joined by His Excellency Professor Peter Anyang Nyongo, the good governor of Kisumu County. Thank you, Governor, for accepting to speak to us.
Thank you very much.
Perhaps we could just highlight how this particular facility, which is also being built next to the International Auditorium or Convention Center, that is supposed to be built, and how will it dovetail into the Afri-cities that we are expecting later in the year?
Well, you know, we intend to connect the convention center to the stadium.
Yes.
Through a tunnel. And we want this tunnel not just to be a tunnel where you walk, but kind of a shopping mall on its own. You see what I mean? So that as you are at the convention center, you can reach the stadium for sports purposes. But mind you, this is just the beginning. In this same stadium, we are also going to have stalls in here. So that when people come here for sports, they have a place where they can go drink tea, watch TV, and so on. So that it is not a dull place used once in a while just for games. Mind you, what CS Samina said the other day is very important. This is not all that we are going to do here. The Minister of Sports and Culture is going to add some other courts, volleyball courts, tennis courts, and so on, and even a swimming pool, so that it becomes a complete sports center. Now, the whole idea of the convention center is the convention center will not only be used for conventions, but also for exhibitions. For example, when we have the annual agricultural show, we should also have an annual business show. You see what I mean? So that people can, rather than have all these separate buildings belonging to separate companies, that is fine, but there must be also a center where when the convention center is not being used for meetings, it can be used for other things that are productive and can add value to the economy. Yes.
Oh, very well. Thank you, and interesting to know, very interesting to know, because a lot of our stadium facilities, apart from a day where there is a football match or a national celebration, they basically lie idle for most of the year. But there are several projects that are being undertaken, some jointly and some by the national government. So how do these projects position Kisumu as a regional economic hub in the Great Lakes region?
It does, because as you know, His Excellency the President is going to open the port. There's also a shipbuilding yard there going on. And mind you, there's also Kenya Pipeline Company with petroleum exports to the region. The marine school will also cater for marine education plus marine engineering. And all this will be attractive to other Eastern African countries who do not have such facilities. Mind you, another thing that His Excellency is going to do is lay the foundation stone for the Lake Victoria Basin Commission. The headquarters is here. So Kisumu as a city must be cognizant of the fact that Kisumu is already an Eastern African entry point into Central and Eastern Africa through the lake. And the facilities here must dovetail into the lake economy, the blue economy, maritime transport, and so on. So we are looking ahead. We are, as it were, building for the future. We are building for the future. That 10, 20 years today, nobody will be disappointed that certain things were not done when we were alive to prepare Kisumu for this great role that it has already started playing in building the Eastern African economy within the East African community.
And lastly, Prof, perhaps you've been in this political space for a long time. What is the mood of the people, and do the people understand as much?
The mood of the people is actually very positive. In fact, in Kisumu, you know, they say these things happen so much together that they are, ironically, with the tongue in the cheek. One of the jokes going around here is that, well, for the first time in Kisumu, people are talking COVID seriously, because the UK variant has arrived. That's the kind of variant that can kill a Luo, you see. So you see, well, that's the light touch. But I think that the people are very excited about what is happening. They realize that for the first time, what is written in the Constitution, that we are two levels of government, separate but interdependent, That interdependence is now being seen by a very close working relationship between the county government and the national government. In this stadium alone, we've been working together. Like when you stand here, you know that this area demonstrate the close working relations between the national government and the county government.
Right.
We have furnished the place, there are certain rooms that we and so on. I don't want to go into details.
Right.
But that is what it should be. Together, we build.
Right. Lastly, very lastly, Governor, where do you see Kisumu in the next 25 years, 30 years, if the same trajectory is maintained?
I see Kisumu really as what it was envisaged when it was called Port Florence. The center for Eastern Africa in terms of civilization, in terms of culture, in terms of trade, in terms of commerce, in many ways. And indeed, if you look back into the history books, you will find that one of the reasons why the white man wanted to reach Kisumu was not just to settle here. The white man wanted to reach Kisumu so that they can reach easily the Pearl of Africa, which was Uganda. And by the way, if you go to Uganda, you find a lot of cultural connection between people who live in Uganda and people who live along the lake on the Kenyan side. So this integration of communities through infrastructural development and institutional development like we have today is what will make the East African community a live institution.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. This has been very informative. Professor Peter Anyang Nyongo, Governor Kisumu County. Well, there was an elaborate rehearsal a while back here, and all the service commanders of the Kenya Defense Forces, the Kenya Navy, the Kenya Army, the Kenya Air Force, and the CDF, Lieutenant Colonel Kibochi also was here in attendance. We will be continuing with our live coverage bit by bit as we cover this historic moment where the 58th Madaraka Day celebrations are held here in Kisumu County. From Mamboleo, once again at the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium, Kisumu, I am Maurice Ochieng.
Good. Thank you very much.